Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the second episode of Mixing Masterclass. I'm your host, David Perzina, Tovin Beats. We are here with Frankie Ghiloni, ladies and gentlemen, of ToneHeart Studios. And as you can see, I'm a little awestruck to be in this space. It is amazing. Dang, Frankie, thank you for having me, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, man. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate you reaching out.
Hey, I appreciate you. I want to talk first about kind of your upbringing and where you were born and raised. Where were you born and raised, Frankie?
I was born in Las Vegas, Nevada in 1997. I was raised out there up until 2011. And then 2011, I moved out here to Phoenix, Arizona with my dad and family. At that time, I wanted to be a guitar player in a band. I wanted to be, I was inspired by growing up watching the Metallica documentaries, like A Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica, and the just the coolness of seeing them in the studio making the music and stuff. That kind of always enticed me.
So that's interesting. My first rock metal show ever was Metallica.
Really?
Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Stained and Seven Dust opened up.
Oh man, that's wild.
I can understand how that energy, especially from such a super group like them, would get you fired up.
I thought James Hetfield was a lot. It looked a lot like the lion from Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? So when I was a little kid and I saw this big, larger than life guy on the TV or the screen computer or whatever, in front of what looked like millions of people, it's like, oh, I want to do that.
See, what I'm getting so far is you're a lot like me. Music is your life. And I get that vibe
100%.
Already because I started let's talk about Frankie as a person. But Frankie as a person isn't the person without the music.
Yeah,
so let me redirect then, because I think it's important too, because I'm the same way. Music has been life for me, right? It's like nothing can get in the way of that. It's like all I want to talk about all the time. But if I were to say, what was your favorite food as a child? What was your favorite food as a child?
Nuggets and fries with ranch.
Hey, so I got 3, 4 at home.
Yeah.
I just had nuggets for lunch today.
Man.
So I'm still there because of the child situation. So that's good. Nuggets.
See,
and fries.
that's a bonus though. That's a plus to me,
with
man.
the
I'm like,
kids,
oh yeah, I'm gonna eat all these nuggets all the time.
If you ever go that route, you're gonna have nuggets on deck, bro.
Man.
So did Frankie get into any sports? Maybe you were on the skateboarding side of things.
Yeah, actually, I did a little bit of both, man. I in elementary school, more like late elementary, early middle school, I played football. And the first real game, I ended up messing my arm up.
A little bit of a reality check to say,
yeah,
is this what I want to do?
Right. And I had already been kind of skating, skateboarding, previous to that a little bit. But that's really, I think, when skateboarding took a bit of a primary role in my life. My sports days were very limited, and I think that I really was lucky enough to kind of find my passion by trying things out that didn't work out. I was that rocker metal kid, with the skinny jeans and crazy hair and stuff. And I just had all my friends were just really cool, variety of people. I was friends with everybody.
I relate to that because I was a chameleon myself.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way of putting it. I just fit in everywhere.
My home dynamics were hip hop, soul, R&B. But my friends were all heavy metal.
Yeah.
So I had the best of both worlds and, socialized in the skater group, the metal group, the geek group, because, I was really good at math. So, it helps you be more diverse. I think it builds you up and builds your character for, and can help you as an adult.
I had a friend, who was in the process of getting his pilot's license and had just gotten enough hours logged. This is out of high school. And just gotten enough hours logged that he could take us up solo. It was really cool to go up, but I mean, he stalled the plane on purpose, so we kind
Yeah,
of free fell. It was terrifying, and he wasn't a metal guy. He wasn't anything like what you would consider like the typical rock or metal musician, persona. These were just my high school friends. Everyone's
right.
got like their friends,
Yeah.
that are just those. They're totally opposite interests to what you have, but you're still like good friends, and it was just cool to be able to go from like hanging out with the super sporty and athletic people to hanging out with the emos and
Right.
people want to call us emos, whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, it was always just like a group of people in one area wearing black skinny jeans, black Vans, and black
So
shirts.
I have a similar experience because I grew up with my father, and it was a very urban. Well, I wouldn't say completely urban area, but the the school I went to was pretty urban environment, and then I moved in with my mother at the age of 15, and it was suburb.
Yeah.
So like I totally understand that experience and that change and that feel of,
Yep.
but really no matter what school you go to or what area you're in, you're still going to have those groups.
I think that that's really important. Kind of glad you brought it up. Like, no one really ever gets to, at least in podcasts like this, where, typically we're just talking about gear, we're nerding out about studios and, how do you, what's your favorite, like, preamp and stuff like that. I think it's cool to actually, like, talk about kind of what makes the person.
I analyze everything. So when I got done watching and editing the whole interview with Jeff, like I just noticed that we went right to that, and that I didn't do enough of that with Jeff, and I really wish I would have, because everybody's got a story before the music.
That's true.
You know,
Yeah.
we all have, and we still got a story outside of music, even though we're in music.
Yeah.
You know, in Jeff's case, he's got a wonderful family, and I could have talked a lot more about just Jeff as a person.
I think it's
You
cool.
mentioned CDs.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What was the first CD, if you can remember, that you purchased?
Oh man, I probably have it in here somewhere up there.
Oh, he's that
The
guy.
the first CD I purchased on my own. Um,
Or a couple of them if you can't pinpoint one.
I mean, for certain, I can pinpoint one CD that I remember distinctively, like having and playing on repeat. Like when I was like at nighttime, I would put it on, and it was an Elvis Greatest Hits. And
Okay.
I'm not like a huge Elvis fan or anything like that. I like Elvis. I obviously he's the king, right? Like Heartbreak Hotel and stuff. It was just really weird memories, But that was definitely like one of the earlier CDs. But I think I might have been ACDC's Hell's Bell, or not Hell's Bells. Highway to Hell. It was either Highway to Hell, I think, was the first actual CD that I bought.
And I was actually shocked and surprised that you said Elvis. I was thinking, oh, he's gonna name some metal
All
band,
right.
and so that's cool. I really dig that. CD on me for me, man. Master P, No Limit Records. No Limit was the label.
Master P, man.
I had every artist CD, man. And they all, man. Master P is the best marketer ever. If you
Yeah.
ask me, every CD, okay, for his artists, there was a page that had the releases that were coming for his other artists
Oh,
in
man.
the book.
That's awesome.
Man, by the way, people, y'all missing those days, because when you could take out that cover and there was
Yeah.
pages, bro.
Yeah.
Lyrics,
Or posters.
a full fold out poster.
Yeah, man.
Man, the tangible.
The merchandise industry just completely changed, man. Like CDs were so cool, and
Yes.
I still, like, in any band that I'm in, I still, like, we order CDs,
Yes.
and it's not just like
It can go back. There
Yeah.
is nothing to say that it can't go back to that. It can. Just because things are so modern and tech is right here on the phone does not mean. So we give the product to the consumer. It's up to people like us, the artists, to choose Oh man, the word ain't coming out. Choose the media that we want to deliver to the consumer.
Yeah, the medium of how we
The medium,
deliver it.
thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
The medium.
But there's a lot of artists right now that are they're dealing with some weird Spotify stuff and some weird YouTube
It's
takedown stuff. Like if you create and write a song and you go through the channels and you upload it and your song that you wrote gets copywritten, something's going on, you know? And with the rise of the whole AI, which I have a controversial take on that. I actually think AI can be helpful, um, depending on how you utilize it and to what extent you utilize it. But you know, AI in the studio, if I'm going through and I'm trying to, um, for example, wire up this patch bay behind me, I can sit down and I can use AI. If I know, if you learn how to prompt it, I can use AI to help me prompt a proper, like a decent layout, and I
mhm.
can go through and then I can like check that and be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is actually great. I wouldn't have even thought of that. Awesome.
Workflow purpose,
Right. Like it's a
not
tool.
final product
Yeah, it's a
purpose.
tool that can be utilized. I think if you're not utilizing it to an extent, you should look into it. More or less, I think what's happening is some of the AI channels are being trained on and like on the music on those platforms, right? And so what's happening is an artist who wrote a song about 2 months ago, got it recorded, put it out, it's been out for a couple weeks, AI gets trained on it, and then all of a sudden an AI song gets generated, that song gets put out, and now your song, because they sound so similar, songs are being like basically pulled.
I was just
Yeah.
watching uh the Miza is a he's a distributor or branding marketer, and he's on Instagram, and he had somebody from the industry doing like a live interview with her, and she was talking about this exactly of how where the shift started to go to digital, and that was back when Napster, and I mean you had obviously uh the iPod, right?
Yeah,
And
that was a huge.
that's where the MP3 started.
Yeah.
And when the MP3 started, then we eventually got to streaming, right? We're now
Yeah.
at streaming. There was an interview you did, and we're going to transition a little bit now more towards you and your development as an engineer, um, and just some of the, we'll say, trials and tribulations as an engineer,
Yeah.
obstacles. And in an interview you did, in an article I read, you said one of the biggest obstacles to overcome is yourself. What are some of the ways that you feel you've gotten in your way, and how have you overcome that?
For me, I think definitely one of the biggest things that has happened where I've felt like I'm just standing in my own way. And I don't know if I've quite like overcome it, yet, but it's definitely like that feeling of imposter syndrome
Mm.
because it's all you. It's all you, right? Like the good and whatever you're perceiving is the bad. Like that's all you. You're making that shit up. Or sorry for
No.
you're making that up. I mean, regardless if you're having like the best day ever, external things are gonna obviously contribute to your overall mood. But like when I'm sitting and I'm working on music and I'm just I'm over analyzing everything. I'm second guessing like minute moves I make on a bus compressor. You know what I mean? That when I find myself getting into that headspace, I know I probably need to just sit down, take like 15 minutes away, give my ears a break. I more than likely should probably drink some water and just try to, maybe it's good. Sometimes it's good to hop on and scroll. Like for me specifically, it's that imposter syndrome and knowing like, dude, you've done some really cool things. You've done a lot of cool things. Some things a lot of people would bang down doors to try to get the opportunity to do, even just to try to get the opportunity. So, um, you know, having to reassert to myself that, hey man, you are cool, like you're fine, and it's okay to not be cool. That's another thing. It's totally cool to not be cool, because for like the first couple of years I was doing this, I was not cool, but cool people gave me a shot and they gave me their time, and that's eventually what helped me get to a point where, you know, people felt comfortable having me represent their art as a contributor, as a producer, as an engineer, whatever it is, right? Or if
I
you
think
want, but
that's a cool aspect and a good way to look at it to overcome that. I think the fact that you can recognize what you've done, you can recognize that cool people have given you an opportunity. Right now, as I sit in this room, all the imposter syndrome I go through, all the self doubt I go through, but I'm sitting in this room with a dude who's assisted or been part of some major credits, man. And for me, like it helps, but I don't need to let that be the driving force that says I'm good enough to be
right.
in this room.
That's one thing that I think would contribute maybe to the, like maybe helping that imposter syndrome not be so, I guess, large, or be perceived as so large, because it's a weird duality where, you know, I'll go from, you know, a couple weeks of practicing for this show. We get to the show, we do the show, and all along that whole time, like I'm not, like I, you know, I'm working my day job. I'm doing regular life stuff, right? But then all of a sudden this one day pops up, and then you're suddenly standing in front of 4,000, 3,000, like, you know, a few thousand people, and you're like, oh my god, they're all staring at me and I need to do something. You know, it's like, it's very
Yeah, man.
it's very trippy, you know, and that duality, because then guess what happens the next day? You got to go to work.
Right back to regular life.
Right back to regular life, man. I mean, you go to work, you go to your day job, and I like I do not say that in a bad way. I
No.
love having a day job.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, I love the fact that I can do this and not have to worry about, like, oh, I have to make this amount of money per month from recording. Like, I don't have to suffocate my art. I've had two commercial property or studios out here, and when I say commercial, I mean I built a studio in an office building that was big enough for me to have a control room and a live room. And I did that two different times, and I know what that overhead feels like. And
Okay. Yep.
you know, that's not, it's not cool. It's so, it feels cool. The first couple months feels great, you know, because you're getting in, you're getting set up, everything's new, it's fresh. It's like, oh man, yeah, this is what I'm doing, you know. Everyone's gassing you up. And then, you know, those same people that are gassing you up, they're like, hey, how's the studio? And you got to be like, oh, it's cool, you know, like, you know, I had this client come in and we did XYZ, you know, and they're like, when are you gonna quit your day job? It
But I
takes,
think it's important, as you're saying too. It's like even if they're at that pace, I think having something else, even if it's just a damn hobby,
yeah,
to kind of separate you from feeling like this has to keep going,
yeah,
right? The
yeah,
day job brings you into the outside world,
yep.
gets you to socialize in a different environment.
There's a
And
sense of
then,
security there, you know.
correct.
I'm not here to pretend that I'm making six figures from my studio. I'm not. It'd be really cool, you know, but that's not where I'm at in my journey right now. I don't think it matters if it's music or if it's like art, or if it's, you know, physical like dance or anything like that. There's something that happens that, like, really either makes or breaks what you do in a very hard and stressful and sad moment. Like a identity loss is so real and rampant in this music, in the music industry, in the entertainment industry. Like, you know, before COVID happened, I was in a band called At My Mercy, right? And we were doing some really cool stuff, some really cool tours, and we had the opportunity to go out on tour with a very large, um, like a very large band. And we had started getting things like worked out for that tour, and it was going to be a long tour, and then COVID hit, right? And things kind of fallen through because of that. And so the band, that at the time, the members of the time, things, we had differences, things changed, so the band slowly disbanded. And I was kind of like already a little disillusioned to that situation, so I again dove further into the recording side of things. um and that's really, I think, where the first time I really experienced, like, hey man, you tend to really like make what you do who you are. And that's it's awesome, and it feels great when it's a high. But when something like that happens and you go through that identity loss, it's really hard. It's a struggle. In between that time, being a producer and helping other artists, and taking on that role, um it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about myself. Like, mixing is the real big passion and love for me, mixing and mastering. I love producing, I love engineering. Like getting everything set up, getting all the takes and all that. But more than anything, like, there's something special, I think, that happens when I can sit down, I can listen to something that's been sent to me, and I like, instead of me sitting there and thinking, oh, I would have done this, I'm sitting there thinking, like, how can I carve out what they've sent me without, like, how can I carve out what they've sent me and drop the static? Like, that's how I've started to try to approach um that action. Mixing and mastering has been always, it's like a dark art, right? Mastering is the dark art. Mastering is really, you don't do that much,
No.
but it's such a drastic change.
Yes.
No one wants to talk about jealousy. No one wants to talk about inferiority,
I'll talk about it
right?
right now because, as you know, I'm definitely not as seasoned as you, and I can humble myself enough to say that that's okay. And when I listen to your mixes, I'm like, God, why can't mine sound like that, right? And so mixing masterclass for me, it wasn't about I'm starting a channel so that I can show everybody what I'm doing. It was, hey, I have more to learn. If I don't get around the people that know it more than me, and can make this stuff sound how I want it to sound, then I'm going to continue staying in this imposter area
Yeah.
of, oh my God, mine doesn't
The
sound like,
echo chamber.
yeah, mine doesn't
Yeah.
sound like Frankie's. I can't do this. So it was to me, okay, yeah, I got a pretty decent workflow. I got good mixes. They're presentable. I got enough tips that I can add to this project of mixing masterclass. I could probably teach somebody to at least get to my point,
That's exact. Yeah.
but I need to get in front of these people that really know this stuff, or I'm going to sit in this echo chamber and I'm going to drive myself absolutely bonkers. And you might not want to sit there the next day, or at least while you're sitting there doing it, you're telling yourself in your head,
I don't belong
I
here.
don't belong
Yeah.
here.
I'm not gonna get into, like, you know what sound level you should listen at too much. What I'm gonna say is, if you partake in certain um, adult things, like, drinking alcohol or smoking cannabis or even smoking cigarettes, you're actually affecting your hearing, whether you know it or not. Like, you're affecting your hearing. Your specifically with cigarettes and nicotine, your blood vessels change, and you have blood vessels all throughout your ears, and whether you know it or not, you're listening to your blood flowing through your body. And so, like, if you pop like, plug your nose a little bit, pop your ears a little bit, things kind of sound a little muffled. Well, that happens when you smoke pot, that happens when you drink alcohol, that happens when you smoke cigarettes. It happens, anything you smoke, it does that because of the suction, and then there's the chemical change that happens that also helps put like a blanket over your ears, your hearing. So, just a little FYI.
No, I
if you're
can say, dude, for the first few years, and it's been a while since I've smoked, but I developed tinnitus,
oh yeah,
right?
it's
Since I've quit, I haven't felt that in there at
yeah,
all.
it's affecting the decisions you make. That's why like you smoke out on a creative night when you're being creative and doing a lot of writing, and your end of night mix the next day, you might have like you're like, man, this sounds so good the night before. But you come in the next day and you're like, oh, this is really either really harsh or really dull. You know, it's gonna be one of the two. Feel free to like say that I'm crazy and that, you know, there's no
Nah.
scientific merit to this. Do feel free to do your own research, like test it out. Drink a beer before you sit down to mix. Drink two, right? Like see what that does. Um,
And then 3 days later, don't do that.
yeah, and do the same thing. Like this is all just something that I'm bringing up because I was blown away at that the actual results of it.
This interview was a totally different approach. I think we got plenty of technicals with Jeff last time on levels and staging and
Yeah, he's amazing too.
yes.
He helped me out in a little way when I was like starting to build my Pro Tools rig. I needed to buy a bunch of DB25 cables, DB25 to XLR, male and female pinout. And I mean, if you know what those are, you know that they can be anywhere from like $100 to like $350. And Jeff actually was really cool and sold me like 4 or 5 really long Avid Digidesign DB25 to XLR pinout cable. So I appreciate you for that. I still use them. Helped me out a lot.
Even though it's small and tight knit, I feel like if somebody's able to help or and has the time that they're willing to, you know, do that.